Hey guys, it's Wendy with Fab Crafts and More, and I just wanted to do a really quick, easy beginner project for some of you that are just brand new to Cricut and may have bought a new Cricut over the Black Friday sale. You should have already downloaded and installed Design Space, and you access that through your browser. And so you want to open up Design Space, and we're just going to go right into New Project. So that should come up on your home screen. So we're going to click New Project, and hopefully you have also already done the practice project that came with your Cricut. And so you may have a little bit of experience already. What I'm going to do is I've already kind of gone through some of the images that are in Design Space. You should have at least a 2-week, I believe, free trial of Cricut Access, which gives you a whole lot of free files to work with in the beginning. And then once that expires, you can subscribe to Access if you want to keep doing that, or you can also find other images in lots of different places on the internet. So what I'm going to do is go to Images over here on the left side, and I'm just going to click that. It's going to bring up all the images that are loaded in Design Space. These images that have the little green tag with the A are part of Access, and those are free for you to use. Right now I'm going to do a quick search for an ornament, and I'm just going to come right up here to the search bar. It says Images. I'm going to type in ornament and hit enter, and it's going to bring up a bunch of ornaments here. Now I've kind of already tested one of these out and I know what I want to do, but you can search through lots of different options. I'm going to click on this pink ornament right here, and I'm also going to come down and click on this ornament, and you'll see that they are highlighted by a green box. You will also see them down here at the bottom. You can choose to unselect them from there, or you can also just click again until the green box disappears. So I'm going to import these together because they fit one on top of the other. Then I'm going to choose Insert Images, and it's going to bring both of them up into Design Space. I can just click on things to move them around. I'm just going to separate them a little bit here, and you can also come over here and see the different layers over here on the right side. If you click on each layer, you'll see it'll select it. When a blue box like this is around an image, that means it's selected. You can hit the Shift key and select both of them at the same time, and I can move them around together. Then click away to unselect them. So I want to move this little guy over, and I added this one second, so it's actually underneath, and I want it to be on top. So I can go up here to Arrange, and I can move it forward. Or I could have selected this one and pushed Send to Back. Right now it's already the back image, and your back image will be here on the bottom of the layers list, and your top image will be at the top. So if I were to come here and push Arrange and Send to Back, you'll see it switched them in the layers also. So I'm going to bring it back. I can also use your undo shortcuts. On a Mac it's Command Z. I think on a PC it's Option Z. And you can use that as well. Or you can also use the undo and redo buttons over here in the upper left corner. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to place this over the top of the other ornament just to get some placement. It's not really going to make much of a difference, as you'll see when we go to make it. But I want to add some text to this spot. So I'm going to come over here to the text box, and I'm going to type in the word to. And then I'm going to, because we want to write this on the ornament, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select Writing. Now when I go to choose the different fonts, it's only going to allow me to choose fonts that the Cricut can write with the pen. So here I kind of like this cute little font. I'm going to select it and I'm going to drag it up here and make it the size that I want it. And move it over here. Now I'm going to click text again and I'm going to type from and click on it again and move it up here, and you can size it with the little arrows, so you can just drag to the size that you want it to be. And now we have, whoops, sometimes I'm actually going to move this over here and then move my words away. Sometimes it's easier to work on these layers when they're not stacked, because if you are clicking around, they can move out of where you want them to be. So now on this, I want these to be centered, so I'm going to drag to select everything that's there. Then I can come up here to align, and I can choose center horizontally, and if you watch, it zoomed it. I'm going to undo it so you can see it again. I'm going to select them all. Now, well, let's not select that. Watch the words over here as I click align and center horizontally, and you'll see they move right to the center. Now, this is where I want them to write, and over here you'll see on the layers they're set to cut. So I need to click on the scissors and come up here and choose write. I need to do the same thing for 2, so I've clicked on that and click on write. So now the words are set to write and not cut out. I want them to stay in this position on this part of the ornament, so I'm going to now select all of them and I'm going to choose attach. Now that is going to attach the words to the ornament, and when we go to make it, it will write them on there. So now we have our 2 parts of the ornament that when we create our ornament, we're going to glue one on top of the other, and the Cricut is going to write to and from on there. So we're now ready to go to make it, and we're going to just come up here, click make it, and it's going to bring us to our mats. So the back ornament is one color, the front ornament is another color, and you'll see here that the words are placed onto this lighter color ornament, and that's where it's going to write. I have chosen more of a red paper and pink paper, just because these are colored this color on the mats doesn't mean that's the color you have to use. You can use whatever colors you want, even if they don't match up to what you're seeing on the mat. Alright, so I'm at my Cricut machine. This is the Cricut Maker. And I'm going to push the on button, and it is going to turn on. And it'll make its little noises. And I've got my red and my pink cardstock. This is just medium weight cardstock that you get in the packs either at Joann's or Michael's. And I like to use my blue mat when cutting cardstock. And you'll notice this mat has been used quite a bit, so it's got some gook on it. Don't worry, that will happen as you use your mats. It's totally normal. Sometimes you even want a little bit of that on your mats because you don't necessarily always want them to be super sticky. But I know that we're going to be cutting the darker colored ornament first, so I'm just going to line this up right here in the corner and give it a push down. Now, one of the things you want to make sure is there's these little notches on your Cricut. When you're loading, when it's time to load your mat, you want to make sure that your mat is underneath those notches and not sitting over the top of them, because that can cause problems. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go over to my computer and I'm now going to click continue. And I am set up on the USB, so it's already going to connect directly to my computer. I am going to choose the light cardstock setting because this is light cardstock, and you'll see now that when I click continue, the double arrow button will flash, and that is asking me to load the mat. So I'm going to place the mat so that the mat is under these little notches, and I'm going to push that button. and it is going to load the mat for me. Then the little Cricut button will flash, and that means that it's ready to cut. So I'm now going to push the Cricut button, and it is going to cut. It checks to make sure that you have the right tool in there, and then it will start cutting. When it's done cutting, the double arrows will flash again. We'll push that to unload the mat, and then you will see that it automatically wants you to go to the second mat. So I've only loaded one mat here. If you have two mats, you can have the other one ready to go, but I'm going to take this one off. And how I do that is I want to roll the mat away from the paper and not pull the paper away from the mat, because when you pull the paper away from the mat, you risk bending it. So what I'm going to do is, let me move this over a little bit here, is I'm actually going to take my mat and roll it away from the paper like this and just help the paper come down. And you'll see my ornament is there. I'm just going to sort of get that off, and there we have the ornament. Okay, so now just carefully I'm going to let that unroll, and you'll see it does not deform your mat. And I'm going to come over here. Oh, here's the little extra dot that was left over. I like to use my scraper, and that just takes it right off. Then we're going to take our light pink color, place that right here. Okay, and I'm going to move this back so you can see the machine. And the button is flashing and it's ready to go. So I'm going to place this under the notches and push the load. Now it's going to detect the tools. I need to place the pen. This is the one that we're going to write with. So I have my pen. You should store your pens down so that the ink is always toward the tip and you won't have to wait for it to come down or shake it. Or sometimes if you write, the ink might not be down at the bottom and it won't write very well, so you'll have to do again. But the way you place this in is you open up side A for accessories, and you just place the pen right down in, let it drop in, and then push it till it clicks. Then you close the little latch and you're ready to go. And now it's blinking and tells us that we can go ahead and start the cut. Push the button. So it will write first, and then it will check to make sure that you have the correct tool placed for cutting, because there are different tools that you could be using. This is just the regular fine point blade for cardstock. And then once it's done, you'll hit the double arrow to unload the mat. You will go back over to your computer and you will click finish. So we will go ahead and roll the mat a little bit to get the paper off, like so, and then you can just kind of roll it and you'll see it sort of starts to pop off on its own, and there you go. So we have our two pieces of our ornament. And then I will place the protective covering back onto my mat to help keep as much lint and dust off of that. And so there we have our two pieces, okay? And now I will just take some of my glue, let's see, and I really like, I don't know if you can see that very well. This is art glitter glue. It's not glittery at all, but it works really well for paper crafts. And just a little bit like that. Put the lid back on. And we will just glue that right down. This glue also dries really quickly. there you have your nice little gift tag, and you can put a string or a ribbon on there, or you can just tape it down onto your gifts. I hope this is helpful for you to learn how to use the writing tool and get that all set up and get a final project.